It's a brand new month, it's very hot, and that means we've got some new miniatures to have a look at for all your 3D printing needs. Now, I do need to remember to actually say at the start of this video, if you want the links to any of these, they'll be linked in the description. I've got a page on my website that I set up every month, which just has a brief overview. It's written in Sean language, so it might not make the most sense, but you could probably get what I'm getting on about. It's got all the links to the different creators there, so if you want to check that out, by all means, head on over there. Also, I should definitely add as well, it's so hot right now in here and really humid. So by the end of this video, I am going to be a moist mess. So, enjoy watching me get sweatier as this video progresses. Anyway, kicking off with fantasy, and we've got rescale miniatures, and they've got these really interesting like plague demons and creatures and everything. Also, one thing I am going to say, I don't know if it's fixed. No, it's not. On my mini factory at the moment, if I click on one picture, it takes me to a completely different picture, which makes getting previews for some of these really difficult. So I don't know if it'll be fixed in editing or by the time I get to editing, but if not, then some of these won't have pictures. Anyway, plague messes. There's loads of stuff. And the thing that I really like about these are they're very nurgly, but actually they're also different to like a lot of the other Nurgle stuff that's out there as well. So a lot of the time, your Nurgle stuff is very, very Plague Marine, plaguey, and it's just what you'd expect from like Games Workshop Nurgle. I feel like they've done a really good job of giving us like Nurgle inspired things that are different enough. So we've got these like, I don't know, broody rhino men type things, which look quite Nurgle-y, but then they're like big greater demon type things. Again, they have that Nurgle essence, but they're almost like a mix of like Khorne and Nurgle. I really like them. This big beastie here with these like wings, and then he's got this like lantern that's spilling out all this gas. Looks really, really nice. Then you've got this other like demon thing with like the tongue hanging out, and this staff, and then this weird dragony type creature. And then for their like base units, they've got, I guess, quite Nurgly, but again, a nice mix between what I'd expect from like a Nurgle type demon or warrior mixed with like a Khorne type demon. I really like them. I think they've got a really good, interesting look. And then this big old like tentacly thing. I think any of these would make a really nice like centerpiece for your army, or just some extra units that aren't normally there. And they look different enough to stand out on their own. Anyway, enough waffle. I need to do this video quick before I melt. Moving across onto Artisan Guild, and they've also got some absolutely killer demons. These look lovely. A little bit more cartoony, so again, it'll be an acquired taste. Some people will like these, some people won't. I really like them. I think they look absolutely fantastic. They're modular as well, so you can change out all the different weapons and stuff like that, swap and change them, so that we can have a really big army. You've got these ones that are mounted as well. And the thing I like about these is they look like substantial demons. The thing I really, really dislike about like the Warhammer Khorne type demons is they're really spindly and they don't look particularly substantial, and I guess it makes them stand out. But compared to the old Hammer demons of Khorne, those like big muscly ones that just look fantastic, they just don't hold a candle to them in my opinion. These capture that. I really like them. They're big, they're like muscular, they look substantial, they look dangerous. There's this big old like, I don't know, boss unit here as well, which looks absolutely fantastic. There's loads of stuff going on in this set that I really, really like the look of. Next up, we've got Highlands Miniatures, and again, they're going for that whole old Hammer type style. I love this. They've got a old elf dragon, and I love these types of dragons. The ones that, I don't know, don't spill over the base too much. A lot of newer ones are just massive, and 3D printing is really guilty of this as well, because they can get away with so much more in sculpting. They're like massive, they're hanging on by a tail to the base, the legs are one way, the wings are another way. This just looks really nice. I love those old classic dragons, and they've captured it really, really nicely. They've also got some old classic eagles as well, which look fantastic, and there's some foot troops. A lovely set, like a command set basically. It's definitely worthwhile having a look at. Next up is Gamuk, and they've got loads more undead. So they've been doing a lot of like almost Japanese and samurai inspired undead recently. Really, really like them. Doing the same again this month. So we've got a lot of undead skeletons, some lovely looking units there, and just the big thick armor, Skeletons in great poses. Skeletons can be difficult with 3D printing sometimes because resin can be, you know, you look at it and it explodes into a million pieces. These look like they're well posed. Their arms and everything are quite tucked in against them where they've got longer weapons. Sometimes they're supported over a shoulder. Base is touching the ground. Base is touching the ground. The base of the weapon is touching the ground. They look like they'd be pretty robust on the tabletop as well. There's some really lovely looking units there and different enough to lots of other undead stuff that already exists. Moving across onto Sci-Fi, we're kicking it off with Arc Villain Games, and they've got all these like corrupted war machines, and I think these look pretty spectacular. There's some really nice stuff as part of this. Again, there's a load of bits that you could probably take here and have them as, I don't know, a bit of a centerpiece for your army, or just something that's really different. These like mechs with these horrible, like tortured human bits inside of it, like holding it together. So rather than having like a pilot who's, you know, happy to be there, this is a pilot who's very unhappy to be there. I really like the look of these. Then you've got these big old like walkers, like these monstrous things with big weapons and like vats on top of them as well. These hound type creatures, and the one I particularly like is this one with this almost like pit or maw on its face, which looks like it probably like grind everyone up. Some lovely looking stuff here. I really, really like these. Next up, we've got Daka, and the thing that really stood out to me from this set is they've got these like vampire sisters of battle, which I think look really, really interesting. They're just all nicely posed. I really like their armor. They almost look like there's something taken from Warhammer vampire accounts from back in the day with that sharp, jagged armor, and the faces are quite similar as well. But obviously for 40k and like Sisters of Battles, you could have them as like corrupted sisters, you could have them as just weird sisters who are a little bit more extreme if you wanted that as well. So a really nice set. And next up, we've got a Wargame exclusive, and they've got an Orc Dreadnought type thing, and it's a jet dread. It looks absolutely fantastic. They've got some sisters there as well, so if you wanted to, you know, have some of those, they've got some like Tau type units as well. But the thing that really stood out to me, once I find it on this list, is the Jet Dread. Here it is. This looks great. It looks so stupid, but great. You know, in a proper Orc fun way. It's this jet that's been taken apart and put together as like almost like an Orc war machine type creature. So you've got the jet engines on there, you've got these big claws, these big weapons. It's goofy, it's fun, and it's a lovely looking sculpt. It's definitely worthwhile, you know, having a tinker with. Oh, excuse me whilst I... Oh, revolting. Anyway, moving across onto D&D, and first up we've got Cast and Play, and they've got some lovely looking rogues. So a very roguish set, as you would imagine. Again, Cast and Play, I really like their art style. I think it looks fantastic. It's going to be an acquired taste because it is that little bit more cartoony. But these look great. There's a whole bunch of different rogues, your assassins, your thieves. You've got these like Cyclops minions as well. It just looks like it'd be a lot of fun to play. I love their art style. Like I said, it's an acquired taste, but there's some lovely things there. You've got these like little halfling rogues as well. Just so much here. I love these. They're nicely posed as well. They've got a lot of character to these. I always think that, I don't know if it is the style that gives them some more character, but I love them. They just have so much character to them. Anyway, enough gushing. Moving across onto Fleshcraft Studios, and they've got divers, is what I've written here, and I can't quite remember why. Here we go. So basically, a diver themed set. I like these. These look great. They look like Bioshock, something ripped straight out of Bioshock. And although there's not a huge variation, you know, you've got some of like the heavier units, some of them with like the big cannons, then with smaller weapons and stuff like that. And apparently it's so hot in here that my camera overheated. So here we are again. So yeah, there's not a huge amount of like variation of enemies here. There's enough, but I just like it. It seems like a really interesting concept. It makes me want to play the adventure. Anyway, moving across next onto White Werewolf Tavern, and they've got a circus themed thing. I think they had a circus themed one last month. If not, somebody else did. And I really liked it because it was creepy and made me freak out. This again, really creepy. I especially love this like centerpiece model of these like massive hands coming out of a tent controlling this woman, and then she's like this puppet and she's been all puppeteered. So lovely. It's a really lovely and interesting sculpt. I think it's fantastic. Then you've got all these strong men like lifting mix. I think again a lovely thing there. And these horrible, I don't know if they're bears or sheep, but they're really, really creepy. And again, I love this sort of styling. I think it looks fantastic and captures my attention enough to make me think I want to play that adventure. Moving across next on to Crippled God Foundry. They've got dinosaurs, a very, almost like Turok inspired type thing. I like the look of this. There's some dinosaurs, there's some wee dinosaurs, there's some like more dinosaur men as well. So if you want some like lizard men type things, and you've got like the jungle NPCs. Looks lovely. I really like this. Again, it's just different. I like the look of it. Makes me want to play the adventure. And that's, I guess, the key with D&D type stuff is I want to look and go, oh, I wonder what that story is going to be. Seems to have done a pretty good job of that. Moving across onto terrain, I've only got 2 this month. First up is Print Minis, and they've got these really interesting like vats. Again, different to anything else that I've seen, at least recently, this big like machine with all these vats and stuff hanging off the end of it, and these like NPCs or humans inside of it. So it could be really interesting to have as like an objective as part of like your wargaming or your kill team, or if you're doing some kind of like sci-fi RPG adventure. I think it'd be interesting for some storytelling and definitely add some flavor to your gaming. There's also a whole bunch of other stuff. They've got those minis that come with this as well, but it was the vats that drew me to it. And the last one on for terrain is this one here by Forbidden Prints. And it's all these modular sci-fi buildings, which I don't think you can ever really have too many of. And if you've not got any already, then it's great. So basically a whole bunch of like different building types and sizes, and they'll be all stackable with those like bridges and walkways and ladders and stairs and everything else, which just allows you to really add some verticality to your game. It's a lovely looking set, not massively detailed, but that's probably a good thing. If you've got an FDM printer, you'll be able to knock some of these out really, really quickly, get them painted up, and then just onto the battlefield. So definitely worthwhile having a look at. Moving across onto Kickstarters, and first up, we've got this Wasteland Wreckage, which is kind of hard for me to say, but we're here. So Wasteland Wreckage, and it is what it says on the tin. It's loads of Wasteland Wreckage. It's all these ruined vehicles, all these bits of bases, this like a watchtower there as well. They all look really, really nice. They're detailed enough to, you know, look nice on the battlefield without being overly detailed and complicated to make them hard to either print or then get painted up afterwards. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So you've got those like containers, this big like ball thing, like I said, vehicles. There's broken walls and barricades and stuff like that. So a really good range of bits to add like scattering to your battlefield. So one worthwhile having a look at there. Next up is a Tower of Whispers, and this is a really nice one. I guess it'd be good for, it'd be good for a lot of things in terms of like your fantasy gaming. So you can either use it for like D&D, you could use it on the battlefield for any wargaming. It's a lovely looking thing, but I was thinking like Frostgrave, if you decorated this with loads of snow and stuff, it'd be quite nice to have. Don't know why Frostgrave screams to me for this one, but it does. It's this big, almost like hex building with this tower in the middle of it, but it's all wrecked and destroyed. Lots of play space inside of it there. So yeah, I really like this. It prints off in multiple parts and you put it all together, so it doesn't really matter about the size of your printer, which is always a bonus. And then last is a Forgotten Sanctuary. I can't remember what this one was, but we're about to find out. Aha! So this is this big old like Gothic churchy thing. So I think you could use this for fantasy or even something like Warhammer 40k. It'd fit very nicely. And it's basically a modular church type building. So all these like entryways, towers, there's all these like walkway bits that you can have on there as well. So again, either nice, you could print it off and have like one big building, you could have multiple buildings, you could have loads and loads of different things here and just mix it up to like however you want it. There's loads of like wrecked parts as well and destroyed parts. So you could have it so it was already wrecked when you start off with, or if you were having some sort of like, I don't know, narrative play, you can have bits that then get destroyed as you go through. It's like part of it gets blown up and you replace it with a wreckaged part. Wreckage, but apparently wreckage or wrecked is just not sitting in my head right now. But I think it's a really interesting little set. Again, it's all modular, so you put it all together afterwards. Doesn't matter too much about the size of your printer. You can go wild. So that's me done. And that was on a pretty fast forward thing because I'm melting. And apparently my camera is also melting. Not a huge amount this month. And I don't know, last month also wasn't a huge amount either. Some of the stuff just isn't ready yet. So there is always that. I try to leave these videos till as late as I possibly can in a month because otherwise I will be missing some of them, but there's only so long I can leave it because otherwise you'll only get a couple of days to actually have a look at any of these. So not a huge amount, but a decent bit of stuff there. So let me know in the comments, what will you be printing? Is there anything on there that you think really stands out that I've missed? And yeah, what have you been printing last month as well? I've just been painting blueberries. You can't really see them, but loads and loads of ultramarines, like original ultramarines behind me, and I love it. That's so much fun. I will be doing a video, but there's been a lot of stuff going on, and that's why there's not been as many videos recently. So in the meantime, stay safe. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully you don't melt like me. I've got such a shiny, bald head. Ta-ra!